In a world where big game companies try to bring you wonderful, exciting new games, one company breaks the mold and brings you a heaping pile of shit. Bethesda.
Welcome to the Nerdentials podcast, starring your hosts, Joe Tweedy, Matthew Johnson, Nick Thomas, and Lynn Dudgeon. Welcome to Nerdentials, your weekly dose of the nerdy essentials covering film, TV, video games, and comic books. I'm your host, Joe Tweeden, and ladies and gentlemen, joining us this evening for the nerdy conversation are my fellow hosts, the Nick Thomas. Sir.
What?
Oh, that's different. New, and I like it. Accompanying all of these shenanigans is our third host, the Lynn Dudgeon.
Heyo, why do I have to be the third host?
I'm sorry, were you caught off guard by the labeling of second and third?
Why can't I be host 2.5?
We're all hosts here.
We're all equal, Lynn. There was no discrepancy meant.
Well, when you number us, you make us feel less important than the number one.
Well, shit. That throws everything out of whack.
Damn.
No, it's all good. I'm number 3.
You're not, though.
Let's see you try to take a number 3.
Moving on.
All right.
That's what she said.
I don't know where to pick up the pieces from here. Hey, there you are, Lynn.
What?
Boys, it's a good time to record tonight. How have you all been? How have you been this week?
Busy as beep.
Well,
thank you for censoring yourself. That's awesome. I don't even have to do it now.
yeah,
I don't think I'm going to do it again.
I'm right there with you. I've been busier than a one-arm wallpaper hanger.
Well,
and what is a one-armed wallpaper hanger?
Have you ever tried putting up wallpaper? You gotta spread it out with both hands and hold it up in place and get in and shimmy your way down the wall. When you're only one-armed, it makes it that much.
Well, you know what? Thankfully, one, you're not handicapped, and two, we've done away with the whole wallpaper thing like 30 years ago. I mean, people still use it, but it's gone the way of the dinosaur. So, thank you for joining us. This is Nerdentials Podcast, episode 73. Guys, we are ebbing ever closer to 100. Got a ways to go still, but we're getting there. So, aside from being busy, anything unusual or exciting? Boys, gentlemen, I've been pretty busy myself.
Got my new job. Been working my butt off.
Congratulations.
And been hunting. It's season, so I'm trying to get me a deer, and it's been rough.
Is it? Are you using the right kind of bait?
What? I'm not there with a fishing pole with a corn dog on the end of it.
He's talking more shake weighty.
Well, I don't know your tactics, sir. Sorry. I didn't mean bait in the literal sense.
Typically, when you're hunting deer, you find where they're crossing, and then you wait during their normal cycles when they're coming through, and catch them as they go through. And
so basically these animals were being massive dicks.
No. They're just there, and I'm hungry.
All right. I won't question your hunting skills any further, Nicholas.
I want to fill my freezer and feed my family. So.
All right. Well,
till 4 p.m. when they roll through, and then you just go clubbing.
Well, like last time, Lynn suggested that you camp out in his yard.
No, I was looking at price of tags over there and everything. I might have to go get a tag and spend a week over there just hanging out with Lynn.
I don't think that would be so bad.
That's the way to do it.
Well, guys, we have a number of things to cover in this episode. Shall we get to it?
Roll that beautiful bean footage. Sorry.
No, that's beautifully put. That being said, guys, let's jump into Movie Matters. Guys, welcome to Movie Matters. We are jumping back into our more classically formulated format where we cover the core topics one by one, and in between those topics we'll deliver some news and some reviews. Last few weeks we had a lot of heavy news. We did D23 a few weeks back. And then we covered some game info, and a lot of news hit us last month. But guys, we're going to roll back into the classic format. The main topic for movies this week that's hit news-wise that I felt was important to cover is how well the Joker movie has been doing in the box office. Now, so guys, unfortunately, us busy nerds have not had a chance to make it out to the cinemas to see this film yet. We will probably give our thoughts on it as soon as we're able to. But there is some important bit of news about said film that I felt was worth talking about. Kind of a spike in the industry, if you will, or at least a spike in Warner Brothers and what they're delivering with all their various single movie takes after the failed. Yeah.
You mean there were no mass shootings associated with the movie in any theaters across the nation?
Way to make it topical and bring it into a really heavy light, but no, I don't think there has been no reports of such thing. And Lynn is referring to the concerns laid out a couple weeks prior to its launch, where a similar event occurred during the Dark Knight Rises premiere,
which had no association to any of the villains or any of the characters of the movie at all.
Nope. But we're gonna keep it light and fluffy right now. We can talk about the social concerns of this film as we move through it. But guys, the headline this week is that Joker becomes the highest-grossing R-rated film ever. So just to I'm going to read through just a couple points here about some of the information we learned. It says here that from Forbes.com, they reported that Joker earned $2.4 million on Thursday, bringing its 21-day total to $258 million, and that's domestic. That's not worldwide. That's just here in America in the 50 states. $258 million in the first 21-day total. Presuming it doesn't drop dead today, they say, it'll pass Captain America the Winter Soldier, which made $259 million in 2014. The Amazing Spider-Man made $262 million in 2012. And they're saying that, as long as it maintains its current pace, it'll surpass both of those films. The film had a $778 million worldwide gross as of Wednesday. And right now, guys, we're recording Friday night as of the reporting of this article. And it has now earned, as of right now, 788 million worldwide. That'll put it right above Deadpool, which made 282 in 2016, and Deadpool 2 made 785 million in 2018. So Deadpool 2 capped at 785 million. And right now Joker's sitting at 778, only a few million away, and at its current pace, they are saying that by the following weekend it will surpass Deadpool 2, which was at that time holding the record for being the highest grossing rated R film, period, like over all franchises and movie genres. So that's nuts.
It comes back to the
that's a Ryan Reynolds tweet. Side note, Nick just posted to us in chat that Ryan Reynolds, I was going to add that in the notes and I just kind of forgot to. This week, Ryan Reynolds tweeted out in good expletive sincerity and affection that he said that something mother effers, basically congratulating them for outdoing the Deadpool movies. And that was courtesy of Ryan Reynolds. So guys, like, we haven't seen the film, but like, I know a good chunk about it. I've read the reviews. I've seen the talk about it. What are your thoughts on that, generally speaking, and what do you think it means for Warner Brothers going forward and their future films that they do based on these various villain superhero properties? And Lynn, you look like you already had something ready to say, so I'll throw it over to you first.
No. Pass it over. What do you got, Nick? What are your thoughts?
I haven't seen it yet, so I can't tell you one way or the other. But I honestly think it had an intrigue factor. It may have just made that much money just because people wanted to see who was going to follow up after Heath Ledger, whether it was good or not.
All the media drama as well.
Yeah, all the drama behind them thinking it's going to spark mass violence and all that. Yeah. Also made people want to watch it, because when the news says, "Hey, this might cause this," people are like, "Oh, let's go see what they're freaking out about."
Exactly. When there's a train wreck, nobody wants to look away from it.
Yeah, and from what I've seen of it, I don't see why it's done that good. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but just watching the preview, it seems slow to me and off pace.
Well, Nick, that's kind of an assumption we can't fully make without actually watching it ourselves. But if you look at the critic reviews, it is and the fan base, it's very split down the middle. As far as there's half the fans think it was incredible and loved this alternate take on the villain, and then I think half the people didn't like it because maybe because of its violent connotations, it's the mental illness that the character is portraying in this film. Critically, it got 68% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it does have I don't know if my internet's fast enough to pull this up, but usually on Flickster.com, maybe Nick, you can pull this up real quick, look up its the number of reviews that hit, but it was well over 400 critic reviews, which is actually a shocking amount for most superhero films or films in general. And I think, again, the reason it did so well, like what we're talking about with box office interest and the controversy behind it, I think that's why more critics reviewed it than what we traditionally see, because so many people were curious, like, you know, why is it so controversial or violent or a number of things. Critic reviews at 68, and the way Rotten Tomatoes works is they don't give you a Metacritic score per critic. It's each individual journalist or critic gives you a yes, it was good, or no, it was bad, fresh or rotten. And so then you take the 400 plus critics and how many of those critics didn't like it and how many of those critics liked it, completely excluding gray areas and variances of opinion, because someone might say, yeah, it was good, but there was a lot wrong with it. So unfortunately, there's not Rotten Tomatoes is not the best source to base it upon, but this movie had a 68% approval rating from critics, and right now it says that there's an 89% approval rating from general viewership, which means the general public liked it more overall. So, eight out of every 10 people liked it as far as general public goes. Lynn, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Well, can I give my take into it before you get too deep into your critic?
No, go ahead. We can move on into opinions here.
But my opinion will shut that idea down. And it's the critics half the time get paid to have an idea. Half the time. What you need to do is you need to make the assessment for yourself. Don't let somebody else think for you. Because if you're going to go off of a critic that says, oh, it's a white clown that has violent tendencies and blah, blah, blah. What if they made a movie about Harvey Dent? Or what if they made a movie about Clayface? Or what if they made a movie about Penguin? And they were just as violent. You know what I mean? I have to say that in the little bit of the movie that I have seen with, Joaquin Phoenix, and it well presented, it's well acted, and it's not like fucking Juggalo Joker. I apologize if people like Juggalo Joker. That's fine. You have your opinion, as I am entitled to my opinion, and it's a slightly more sophisticated / classy way of bringing a violent character to people, as opposed to just, outwardly, blatantly violent, lack of care towards anything human. This shows that they're, I don't necessarily view it as it humanizes or it makes it okay. A person can go from being okay to being not okay by the way that society treats them.
Right.
Mental illness can only be exacerbated and made worse by your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And so far what I've seen is that's what happened. Is just that I'll get off my mini soapbox for a second.
I wasn't trying to cut you off, dude. I was only on a side note, just going back to the critic amount, this does have, I think, and I haven't looked at every film on Rotten Tomatoes, but this does have a record number of critic reviews. I just finally pulled up the critic consensus here, and there's 500 critic reviews for this film on Rotten Tomatoes. I thought Wonder Woman had a pretty record high hitting. To give you perspective, the average Marvel movie gets 350 to 380 critic reviews. That's the average, and those are huge, massive blockbuster roller coaster rides. They're the amusement park of cinema, as I think a few renowned filmmakers have called out Marvel in recent news headlines, bashing Marvel for them not being true cinema. We're not going to dive into that right now, but but to be fair, the average movie in general, anytime I look at a critical review or the percentage, I see that there's anywhere from 300 to 380 reviews. And Wonder Woman got over 400, and I thought, wow, that's impressive, and it still held a 90+%. That's cool. And I'm looking now, and it's now at 69% is the official current critic rating, and that's based on 500 flipping reviews. So that alone is, to me, tells me that this movie is just so, air quotes, controversial right now that many more outlets pursued putting out a review for it rather than skipping it, because everyone wants to be on top of what does everyone think about this, and so everyone's trying to put their 2 cents in.
Get their hands in the jar as well.
Yeah, and but conversely, the 89% that comes from the Rotten Tomatoes viewership, general public, there are 53,000 people have come in and reviewed it personally, and out of 53,000 people, almost 90% of them liked the movie. So, I tend to...
They're trying to counteract the negative critic reviews because it's getting like a lot of other movies critic bombed.
Yeah,
because they don't feel like it fits social views that they deem necessary.
All I'll end this with, and we probably shouldn't speak too much more about it, not having seen it ourselves. But everyone that has said positive things about it, minus the gripes, has said that Joaquin Phoenix, as an actor, put on an incredible tour de force of a performance, that some people are saying on par with blah 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 Heath Ledger, yada yada, right?
I will say with what I have seen, like I told you, that it is comparable. It is along the lines of that.
Yeah, as an actor, he's an incredible actor, and the funny thing is, on a side conversation pulling out of this, is that Joaquin Phoenix has never done a sequel. As an actor, he refuses to do sequels. He never likes playing into a character a second time. He's also he's been attributed as a method actor, and he likes to put 100% of himself into that role and never wants to revisit it. In several personal interviews, he said he got into some really dark places personally, and thankfully the movie came out, and we haven't lost him, unfortunately, like we did with Heath Ledger, who put way too much of himself into it, and he kind of took a wrong turn, unfortunately, with the Dark Knight film. But Joaquin Phoenix, so a lot of fans and publications and podcasts I've listened to have asked the question, and obviously Warner Brothers, being the corporation that they are, when a movie performs as well as it does, the immediate question is, can we do a sequel, or let's do a sequel? And we're pretty confident as a fan base here, I think, and based on what we know about Joaquin Phoenix, that even if they try to do something more with the Joker, that it's almost incredibly unlikely that he will ever return to that role ever. Like, this is a one and done story for him.
No, it just needs to be like it. I feel that once I do come to the end of the movie, it'll probably be, it just needs to be done there. Because with how much effort was put into it, and then how much mental stress was put into it on not only him, but like Robert De Niro, like during interviews, it probably just needs to be left where it's at. I mean, especially if it's as good as like what Sundance says about it. Just
Yeah.
do pick something else and do that just as good. That's what needs to be done.
Yeah. Agreed.
Get another DC either hero or villain, and then put that much effort into that hero or villain.
And dude,
don't try to milk one character for what it's worth, because people will get burned out on it, and they'll either not want to see the next one, or they just never want to see from that character again.
exactly, dude. And like, that's what's so good right now about Warner Brothers right now. Coming off of Wonder Woman and Aquaman and now the Joker being a complete alternate world story about the Joker, and then we've got Birds of Prey coming out. We've got sorry, I always forget. Shazam did well. It didn't like blow the box office, but it did well. And then the Rob Pattinson, freaking, who's directing it?
Sparkly vampires.
Come on, Nick, stop. No, help me with the details, not the memes. Who's? Why am I drawing such a blank? Who's directing it? Guy that did Planet of the Apes.
Reeves?
Yeah, Matt Reeves. Like right now, the casting is going incredible. Once Robert Pattinson came out of the woodworks and that was made official, the additional casting that's been procured. Additionally, in like side news, the Jonah Hill was originally in talks, and that was a controversial topic over the last 2 weeks. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, maybe he'll be the Penguin." But the thing is like none of the fans on any podcast I've listened to want to see him as the Penguin, because that's too easy of a thing to cast him in. Because one, he's not skinny anymore. I mean, he's skinny now. He's not like, okay, maybe 2008 Jonah Hill, husky Jonah Hill might have been like a more obvious pick. And then we're also talking. Go ahead.
Jonah Hill will be Green Lantern. Come on, if we're being honest.
Well, then that's outside of the Bat family. So anyway, it was just confirmed this week that he dropped out of being in talks. So he is absolutely not going to be in this film.
Yeah, because he wanted a shit ton of money.
Yes, I know, that was the controversy too. Is like he was asking some rough estimate of like $10 million to be in the film, and he's earned some clout in the last few movies that he's been in. He's been in a couple of serious dramas, and I know Nick hasn't seen any of those, and all he sees him as being the 21st Jump Street, co-starring next to freaking, what's his name, from
Magic Mike.
Yeah, Magic Mike. God, freaking, what's his name? Help me out, guys.
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
Oh, it's fun to watch you
struggle. Stop making me struggle, Lynn.
Not struggle, but imagine Magic Mike. Or Magic Mike 2.
I liked him in the dance movies. I won't even go there.
There was a sequel to that.
Which is, yeah, I know.
No.
XXL.
Jonah Hill for me was, what, Superbad and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That was Jonah Hill for me.
I know. I haven't seen War Dogs, and there's a couple other serious films that he's been in where he plays a really effed up dark character. And so I guess a lot of fans that have seen those movies thought maybe he was a viable option, but he's stepped away. Warner Brothers went for Nick. Can you pull up the article? I am so sorry I didn't have the notes on this, but recently someone was cast officially as the Riddler, and someone was also cast as Catwoman for this Batman movie. And Lynn is just shaking his head like he don't want to talk any more about this damn movie. Are you completely like, I don't give two shits about this movie until it comes out? Is that where you're at right now, Lynn?
No, I'm just like,
Or are you just worn out from the back and forth about what it's going to be?
I honestly have no opinion right now on this. I was just
Okay.
scratching my face.
Fair enough. But for the sake of our pop culture podcast, Lynn, you do understand there's some things I do feel is important to cover, even if not everyone here is like the most excited to talk about it.
All right. Recently announced, we have in the role of Selena Kyle, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
Mm-hmm. That's official. And do you have a Riddler? Because I think he was official too this week.
And for the Riddler, the actor that is cast as the Riddler, who will portray Jim Carrey's crazed take on it, as Edward Nygma, will be Paul Dano. Mostly known from Little Miss Sunshine and There Will Be Blood.
Oh snap! But the thing is that these are not AAA actors. They've got good credits, but they're not Jonah Hill. I want $10 million type of BS. You know what I mean?
And what?
As far as the Paul Dano, I feel like he would make a better Scarecrow than Edward Nygma.
I agree.
Interesting.
I don't mean to knock him. Just things that he's been in the past. I feel like he'd make a better Scarecrow than an Edward Nygma.
So we were just talking about Jeffrey Wright from Westworld. Was recently also announced in the last week or two that he'd be being cast officially as Jim Gordon.
Yeah, filling some pretty big shoes there of Gary Oldman from the Dark Knight series.
Now, in your opinion, Nick, is that like the blueprint? Is that like the flag in the ground that you base all Jim Gordons on?
Older Jim Gordons?
Yeah, all actors that have portrayed him before.
So far, yes. He's been the best, most accurate. Gary Oldman is one of the most underrated, greatest actors of our time. Personal opinion.
I could agree with that. He's played a lot of great roles. He's never been in a huge spotlight before. But Jeffrey Wright has kind of a stoic demeanor, and he's kind of always quiet. And I don't know. I think with a trench coat on a rooftop with the bad signal, maybe he pulls this off.
Big stogie in his mouth.
Yeah. This could be fun. Lynn, you've got a pointer finger extended. Do you have a statement to make?
I will say, I've never once underrated Gary Oldman. He is a great actor, but I do feel like he is the penny loafers, like what is most comfortable for Commissioner Gordon. Like what feels right. And this might be the different set of shoes laid out upon the ground that might be a different portrayal that might also feel right from a different angle. You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't necessarily think that I'll hate it. I feel it'll still be gritty on a different level, at a different angle. You know what I mean? It'll come from a different view, a different point. And I don't know. I feel it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. It's just, Oldman feels right. Like I said. those comfy, insoles of the penny loafers, you're like, oh man, this feels fantastic on a Friday evening. But
For shizzle.
Hey,
this might be the shakeup that we need for something different. I don't hate it.
I think you open up an interesting perspective that may hold true, Mr. Lynn. I think, because we forget sometimes, I think, that Matt Reeves is going for a noir crime thriller. Like, he's trying to put this Batman into a more heavy-set detective mode that is more common with some of the Batmans of old, the Batmans of yore. And so I think this whole film noir crime drama might play out at better strengths with some of these character choices and these casting roles that are being picked.
It's tough though, because honestly, it would feel great and feel right done by Batman is something like the Animatrix. I don't mean to throw out off topic or askew ideas, but where one idea is met by a bunch of different ideas, but all along the film noir idea, because Oldman and then the new casting and older casting still make a great Gordon. It's just the two of them, it'd be great to see side by side within the same idea, their acting or their portrayal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And in case you weren't aware, Matt Reeves is, as far as the script goes, is going for a Batman in his late 20s. So this is meant to be like a younger beginning of his career Batman story.
So you think this might be a year one approach?
Possibly. I think they might pull elements from it. It will definitely be like a unique story, but I definitely think it's coming from more of that time period, and they've said as much in social media.
We're gonna get another proverbial training montage.
Montage!
I'm sorry. I mean, if it needs to be done, then it needs to be done. But montage.
I know we skipped past the Joker conversation. I feel like we said what we could say up to this point. We'll revisit it once we've actually been able to have time to invest in the film. I think all.
If you want to hit it tomorrow, I can watch it within the night. So.
Let's say I don't know if I have that time or opportunity. Let's talk off air, Lynn. but and then also with the Matt Reeves Pattinson Batman flick that is coming our way in the near future. That was some good news and some good conversation. Now, I heard off air that we have a one more news topic that I did not get in the notes tonight.
Yes. Disney Marvel fans are calling for Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, to be replaced.
Go on. I mean, he hasn't even had his series yet.
I know. It's typical knee-jerk reaction from people not knowing what's going on in the situation and just jumping to reactions. There was allegations brought up against him about some questionable actions. His wife, his ex-wife, said that he allegedly threatened to kill her and he had a drug problem and blah, blah, blah. Him and his lawyers are saying that it's all lies and all that. But it's just another point of proof that people will jump to any conclusion, and no matter how good someone is at a role, ask for them to be replaced because of stuff they've heard.
Hey, so correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the rule here in the U.S. you're innocent until proven guilty?
Yep.
Since 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 when did we become condemned by your peers before anyone gets all the facts? I mean, sorry, sorry, sorry. There's a few directors that have seen that one firsthand and have bounced back from it, but I think only because people realize that they can't do without him.
All the Marvel actors, I hope that a lot of that is not true. I hope none of it's
Well,
true, but
as a human being, as someone who was born on this earth as a human, there's two sides to every story. Minimum. Minimum. There's two sides to every story.
Yep.
And one of them is usually fabricated to be worse than the other. And you never get both. You get one. And usually the one that people view as the most story worthy or click worthy is what gets posted. And that's usually what's most detrimental to anyone's, I mean, social outlook from others. And that's not what we need. This whole soapbox cancel culture needs to stop.
Yep.
agreed.
And I apologize, but I mean, we need to hear both sides of the story, and everything needs to be fleshed out. And you can't just jump. You can't. You can't knee jerk, because usually, in some instances, like the industry where I work in, knee jerk reactions are worse than what was there before, and usually get people killed. So, I mean, in this instance, nobody will die, but
Yeah, it's still a reaction that sucks and it is all too common in today's industry.
I'm I mean, for any human being's fight, I wish that anyone would listen to both sides. That's, I guess, the only place where I could be.
Yeah. Absolutely, sir. Nick, any concluding thoughts before we move on to our movie review for the week?
Nope. Was just wanting to point out ridiculousness.
Absolutely. Perfectly stated. And yeah, guys, I mean, feel free to put a comment down below on the YouTube video or message us over Twitter or Facebook on your thoughts about the industry and knee-jerk reactions to accusatory claims against actors or anyone in the industry. There's probably a lot to be said for such things. So, guys, let's jump into what we've watched this week. We have one particular film that me and Nick would like to review that recently was showcased over on Netflix in light of the October spooky month. I will give you guys the quick rundown on what's in the movie and who's involved, and then we'll give you guys our general thoughts and rating on it. So, the film in question is entitled Eli. It's directed by Kieran Foy. He is an Irish director and producer known for the 2012 movie Citadel, the 2006 The Fairies of Blackheath Woods, and the more commonly known film Sinister 2 from 2015. It was written by David Tricarico, Ian Goldberg, who worked on Autopsy of Jane Doe and Fear of the Walking Dead, and Richard Naying, who also worked with Ian Goldberg on those IPs. This film stars Charlie Shotwell, a child boy actor known for Captain Fantastic from 2016, All the Money in the World from 2017, and The Glass Castle to 2017. Co-starring Kelly Riley and Max Martini, who played the parents, and Lily Taylor as Dr. Horn, who is more maybe well known from her role as the mother in the Conjuring film. We also get a cameo by Sadie Sink from Stranger Things fame. The synopsis for this film: a young 10-year-old boy, Eli, has an unknown illness that means he can't leave his house, and when he does, he has to wear a head-to-toe hazmat suit. His parents, Rose and Paul, played by Kelly Riley and Max Martini, manage to find a doctor, Dr. Horn, played by Lily Taylor, who may have a solution to all their problems. Naturally, Dr. Horn's facility is in an incredibly remote area, and it is housed in an old and creaky mansion and has dark and spooky hallways. All the makings for a spooky stay. Without going into spoilers, that's kind of the gist of this thing. It's kind of like the Bubble Boy effect. Like his skin can't touch the air. He can't breathe the air. He immediately breaks out into massive rashes that nearly threatens his life. And so they keep him in kind of this confined bubble, basically, with supplied air. The parents finally get a hold of this doctor who seems to have a remedy for someone with his unique issues. And, of course, as in the description before, it's at this crazy, spooky-looking mansion in a remote area. Right at the beginning of the movie, when they walk in, it's kind of like a clean house. They kind of go through a decontamination area, and then they get ushered into, the area where they're going to undergo treatments for the kid. Overall, I feel like the pacing of this movie was good. It kind of kept you wondering what's going to happen. It had all the crazy common tropes for a lot of spooky horror stands anytime involving hospitals, or you got the fog on the windows, you got the creepy hand prints on the window, you've got occasional apparitions of ghost children in the hallways, you've got the parents not believing that the kid sees what he sees, all super common tropey aspects of horror. And without giving away anything about the ending, Nick, the one thing I want to throw out there is that for me, I enjoyed the film all the way until kind of the end. And I don't think we can really explain our feelings on the end without spoiling it. So what I will say is this, I'll put it this way. It built a steady amount of suspense and concern and wondering what's going to happen to this kid. Is he going to get better? Are they going to cure him? And you're left wondering, are the doctors here, are their intentions true and honest? Are they really going to help him? They seem a little shady. All those tropes seem to happen. And then the ending took, just for me, a really crazy twist that I didn't hate, but it kind of, I don't know. I feel like, for me, a horror movie needs to keep pushing that boundary of dread. And then for me, I like horror movies that end with uncertainty, or I don't mean to be a morbid person, but true horror movies I like when they end with an unknown outcome, or they end with just complete dread. Like, those are like the most common. Like, yes, this was a successful horror movie. This takes a twist that's so unexpected and kind of was like, what? I don't know. I don't know what to say other than that. But my rating, based on what you guys just heard, without spoiling anything, is I give it out of a 1 to 10, 10 being incredible. I give this I'm gonna give this a 7. Honestly, a 7 only because of how it ended, not because the journey up to the ending I felt could have been an 8 or a 9, but the way they decided to end it pulled the film as a whole down to 7. I'm gonna let you have the floor for a minute, Nick. You tell me what you thought about it.
A lot of the jumps scare type things were almost telegraphed. You knew something was about to happen when it was happening because of the sinister way the whole time in the movie would change. You could tell something was going to happen at any given time when that was happening. So it kind of gave up the ghost. But it seemed forced. I liked the premise of the movie. I liked the idea and everything behind it. I even liked some of the acting, but overall, to me, it felt forced. Is why I give it a 6.
All right, Nicholas. Well, fair review. That makes sense. Nick, between you and me and our audience, do we recommend them at least check it out? It is on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's
definitely recommend at least trying it.
It's an easy click through, and me and my wife on the spur of the moment decided to try it out last night, so that's what we did. So, that being said, guys, let's move into our next segment. We don't have much news regarding TV, but we do have at least a review to throw out there. So, let's jump into TV Talk. Guys, welcome to TV Talk. Again, not much for news right now, but we have a show to review. I'm going to toss it down to our nerdy host, Mr. Nick.
Yeah.
You got something, Nick?
Yeah. I came across this little gem on Netflix. It's a Netflix original that's just rather new to the streaming's platform. It is Netflix original Daybreak. It is actually based off of a comic series by Brian Ralph. And it is a post-apocalyptic show with some interesting twists. Your main character, Josh.
Just Josh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. You'll get it when you watch it. It stars him, and I don't remember the actor's name. I should have looked this up before we started.
So there's Colin Ford as Josh Wheeler.
Yep, Colin Ford.
Olivia Allen Lind as Angelica. Austin Crute as Wesley Fists.
Yeah. No.
And Matthew Broderick as the principal. Freaking, I absolutely adore him in the pilot. Go on.
No, it was a sheer pleasure to see Matthew Broderick in something again. I very much missed the way he acts and the way he reacts to things. He's got a very expressional face. It's something in the eyes. It's just like, oh, it's you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
you know what I mean.
he's got a very unique, stoic, like hippie of the future type personality. Where in the pilot alone, he drops all these pop culture references like he's totally hip and in with the kids of today. And a lot of the reactions that you get from the kids are like they're kind of caught off guard. Like they don't say it, but you could see on their expressions they're like, "Dang, Principal knows what's up." When he's dropping references like, "Oh yeah, I place the what was it? That one character on Overwatch." And
Yep.
there might have been a Fortnite reference, and there's a bunch of Minecraft. There's a few different references
Everywhere.
throughout the whole show. I imagine.
The IMDb synopsis goes as this. High school outcast Josh is searching for his missing girlfriend in post-apocalyptic Glendale. He's joined by a group of misfits, Angelica and his former bully, Wesley. On the way, they'll face many weird things.
Yeah.
This plays off almost like a new age version of damn it. What was that show? What was that movie? Another post-apocalyptic. There was gangs and everything, but it was new.
Waterworld?
No, it was
Newer? Older?
way older. Come out and play.
Oh, you're talking about the Warriors.
Yeah,
Warriors. Thank you. It had a very warrior feel, but up to date and modern. Because after this apocalyptic thing happens, all these different subgroups of peoples from the school and stuff form their groups. Like there's the jocks.
Let's not forget the one detail, Nick, in this whole premise for this show is that all the adults have been, in a very unique way, zombified.
Or ghoulied.
Sure. And they walk the streets like zombies, and they keep mumbling phrases or sentences. And what we learn in the very pilot is that the thing they sound like they're having conversations like normal humans, but the problem is as our lead actor states in his fourth wall breaking narrative to the audience, that these ghoulies, or all the adults in the world, keep repeating the last thing they were thinking or saying before the nuclear bomb went off.
Yep.
And so instead of them grunting brains or buh, you hear things like, yes, I need to avoid that tax evasion, or maybe I should call up my accountant, and blah, blah, blah. And they just keep mumbling these meaningless phrases that the last thing that was on their mind before they died.
Or half off at Lululemon.
Yeah. It's very modern cultural pop references out the ass. It's got a huge amount of comedy. It's got gore. It's all kids.
You actually brought up the thing that makes this so unique, charismatic, and endearing. The whole show, the main character is narrating it with fourth wall breaks, almost like Deadpool style, but as a kid, and he's very charismatic how he does it.
Yeah, like in episode 1, he confronts these jock-like guys who are part of the golf club of all things, and they're like badasses. They're trying to be rough and tough, and all the golf clubs have had makeshift weapons made out of them. And he goes and he thinks he's rescuing his girlfriend that they're berating or whatever. And as he's talking to them, he's like, the only thing he can think of to do to get out of them overwhelming him is like, I've got a story. I've got an origin story, he says. And all of them are like, hey, we've been bored for a long time. We'd love to hear a story. You know, like, they're all going to, like, attack him and enslave him, but then suddenly he presents them with, I've got a story, and they're like, we want to hear your story. And out of nowhere, he fourth wall breaks, turns to the camera, and starts telling his backstory. And, you know, and that's just in episode 1.
There's a lot of backflashes. There's a lot of mental breaks. Like what's going on in his head type thing. It's one of the most entertaining shows I've watched in a long time.
And you watched it all the way to the end.
I started it yesterday and stayed up till 4 a.m. and finished it.
Damn. What's the episode count and runtime for these episodes? Stop.
That many and that long. Let me see.
Pull it up real quick on actual Netflix. It will tell you episode count and runtime.
I think there's 10.
Under my recently watched, I will pull up... wrong show.
We don't need to know about your porno.
Daybreak is 10 episodes long, and they are roughly anywhere from 38 to 49 minutes apiece. So, 45-minute sitcom on average, 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Not bad. One season. Boom.
I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Damn! Highest of recommendations, guys.
All the way through.
Based on the pilot alone, I am intrigued to just keep going, because like that's how like hooked I got only in the first 20 minutes.
It's definitely a refreshing take on the whole zombie apocalypse feel. The way it's approached with this satire makes it real easy to bite onto and follow it through. There's a lot of characters in here that are just ridiculous that you can't help but watch because it's like a train wreck.
I love that. I'm always down for teen drama in an apocalyptic setting.
The person that stole this show for me, there's 2 people that actually stole it for me. And when you watch it, pay attention. These are ones to follow because they're funny and they lead to some of the best interactions in the whole show. You said her name before, not his girlfriend Sam, but the little girl.
Oh, Angelica.
Angelica. Angelica is.
She's like the kick-ass version in this group,
but crazy.
Kick-ass, to be fair, was a little crazy.
True.
She was raised by Nicolas Cage, for crying out loud.
And Mrs. Grumble.
Ooh, Grumble.
Not Grumble, Crumble.
Oh, my bad.
Like crumbles. Yeah. No, but it's definitely worth watching. If you haven't watched it, turn this off. Go turn it on right now and watch it. No, go now.
And then come back and leave us your thoughts down below in the comments section. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
We'll try to catch up on this during my CW binge that I'm currently locked into. I took a moment to try to watch half the pilot today.
We're glad you are finally trying to catch up on the C-dubs.
Guys, Crisis on Infinite Earths is upon us. I guess there is one little tidbit of news in TV talk, just to briefly mention as we go into gaming bits. Brandon Routh officially announced today he bid his final farewells. Now, guys, not a spoiler because I'm not talking about anything about the show, nothing about the plots, but in the CW show Legends of Tomorrow, they're in their 5th season right now, and I don't know what happens to him in Crisis on Infinite Earths, but actor Brandon Routh, who plays Ray Palmer, aka the Atom, and who will be playing the Superman Kingdom Come version in Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover in December, just wrapped up filming their final episode for the 5th season of Legends of Tomorrow, and bid all the cast and crew a fond farewell, as it will be him and his wife Courtney's last official time with the CW. They are going to move on to do bigger, brighter things. The actor Brandon Routh is leaving Legends of Tomorrow as the Atom, and I don't know who his wife, Courtney something, she plays one of the reoccurring characters in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, his spouse is Damien Dark's daughter, Courtney Ford.
Okay, yeah, Courtney was her name, right? Now, listeners and viewers might be confused as to why I'm talking about something ahead of where I'm at in the storyline. Like, these are technically spoilers to me, but at the same time, I'm still like full blown getting into the CW right now. I am just finished season 2 of The Flash. I just finished season 4 of The Arrow. And to give you guys perspective, I am 3 years total as of right now. I am 3 years behind all the CW seasons. Because they're on Arrow season 8. They're on The Flash season 6. Legends of Tomorrow season 5. Supergirl season 3, I think. And
Black Lightning season 2.
Black Lightning season 2 and Batwoman just premiered this year. And after only 2 episodes, the CW Warner Brothers officially announced. I didn't know it was in a testing phase, but they have officially announced a full season order for Batwoman. Even though the pilot had some rough fan and critic review reactions, it's still successful enough in their eyes after 2 episodes that they're going to order the full season. And there's one other CW show that got ordered. I just saw the article today. Not related to the heroes, but nevertheless, that's where I'm at. And to give you guys a quick closing review, I will keep it very brief. Season 2 of The Flash was freaking heart-wrenching. And the final scene at the end of the finale, I know it's 3 years back, so maybe you're like me and you haven't caught up and you want to, so I'm not going to spoil it. But granted, all you fans out there know what I'm talking about when I mention the ending of season 2. That I can't believe, and I'll put it this way for the hardcore nerds to truly understand, and I knew this happened in the Flash series. I can't believe Barry Allen is trying to pull a Flashpoint maneuver. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything else. I just can't believe in the final moments, Nick.
You are so far behind.
Yes. Okay, we'll talk off air. I'm gonna we're gonna move on so I don't ruin it for any other listeners. We'll get a deep dive into CW later. And guys, we'll revisit that whole CW thing as we get closer to the crossover in December. But for now, it's time to drop into our last topic for the episode, guys.
Get in. Lynn's topic? The best topic?
One of the best. Let's get into Gaming Bits. Guys, welcome to Gaming Bits. There's a lot of things to talk about, but there was not a lot as far as fresh current news this week that I was able to procure. However, I am going to toss...
I'm going to take it over.
Yes.
I'm taking it over.
Yeah.
Lynn,
I'm bowing out. You take over.
I'm taking it over.
All right.
Okay.
Hostile takeover.
Oh, it was
hostile takeover.
Oh.
Okay. I would like to start the segment off by saying December 10th is the end for the season pass on D2. Not that anybody cares, but you need to grind it out. Also, I have my Wendigo. Finally.
And your Leviathan bow.
Yeah!
Congrats.
Okay. The Leviathan bow quest, I'm not even going to lie, it made me cry I don't know how many times. Like when I went back and actually read the flavor text for it and how Banshee 44 has such bad memory loss that he still thinks that Cade is still alive. It's mildly painful.
And the quest, though, was one of the more enjoyable quests we've done in a long time.
Yeah, right? As far as cooperative play and everything, dude, you, me, and Brayhan.
Shout out to Brayhan, Dr. Brayhan.
What's up, Bray?
Putting up with our asses. Love you, man. I'm not even gonna lie.
We all lost our collective minds on that arms dealer.
Oh, geez. And apparently, from what he says, playing with us wasn't even nearly as bad as playing with the Blueberry.
So we got to feel good about that at least, right?
Right? Yeah. Okay. So, next thing I want to move on to is, let's see. Can we talk about Bethesda for a minute?
I've got no problem with that.
What are you guys' thoughts on Bethesda right now? Right at this minute?
At this minute, I have not played anything from them currently, so I have this false image of a company that cares about its player base.
In a world where big name companies of games try to further their franchises, one company breaks the mold. Bethesda deals us a big pile of crap.
So here, coming from someone from experience and someone who is from a loved one, purchased the game for them and attempted to get them to play it with them. Here's a head scratcher. Here's a real big head scratcher. So they first initially launched and said microtransactions were only going to be cosmetic. All microtransactions were going to be like
You never said the name of the game.
Okay, Fallout 76. The big name. Oh,
I mean, to be fair, Nick, we said Bethesda and Fallout 5 is like another 10 years away. So,
Bethesda makes other stuff.
Yes, Elder Scrolls, which is also another 5 years away.
Yeah, there you go. Fair enough, but okay, Fallout 76. So they claimed that all microtransactions were going to be strictly cosmetic. Okay. And then when you get into the game, the first few transactions that they add in after the costumes were a fridge and repair kits. That doesn't seem like that's cosmetic only, right? If I'm being fair. And then the transactions after that were, what is this new one? A subscription fee? You can pay $13 a month for
Fallout
this.
first.
Yeah, first. Or you can pay $100 for the year and get all 12 fingers. But it So what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to give you infinite storage space. You're supposed to be able to get another spawn location or quick, fast travel location, being your survival tent. And you're also supposed to get a few other things that are supposed to make your life easier or more enjoyable via the sandbox, i.e., emotes, which are, throwaway cosmetics. And then you get 18, correct me if I'm wrong, 1,800 atoms per month to your account, and then access to private servers, which is, all of that sounds sweet. And all of that should have been in the game pre-launch, if I'm being honest. Like, Fallout 4, you got you had the ability to make infinite storage yourself. You just jump between base and base, and you could store stuff throughout. But the catch being is you have to pay the $13 a month or the $100 a year to access the infinite storage space, which, upon logging out and changing servers, deletes items, or hopping to a friend's private server deletes items, or i.e. other elements of server change / logging in or logging out deletes all of your scrap, which, you work hard to farm all that, and then it kind of sucks. It makes it pointless. And then on top of that, you pay for the private server, which people are reporting that even when you try to start a private server, anyone within your friends list can join it. And it's pretty painful. Are both of you guys done?
No, I agree completely too. It is painful. They hyped this game up so much and have dropped the ball so many times, and then work so hard to try to get it to come back and make it something people can be, I might give this a try, just to have the whole production team have a collective brain aneurysm.
For a minute there, it actually felt like they were trying to do right by the community, and then with the additions of the fridge or the scrap collector robot, it's pretty painful. I mean, yeah, you can earn atoms in game. It's super time consuming, and I don't know. It's pretty rough. No, so where I was at was, so the refrigerators and the scrap collector robot should have been in-game base. Like, you should have been able to craft those or build those.
Yeah.
As a sandbox,
feature of the sandbox, yeah.
Better your life game quality type thing. Because just the sheer fact of collecting stuff is kind of a pain. And then the fact that you're on servers with other people, it just makes it even more rough. But with the subscription, you're supposed to be able to do private servers, which aren't private, as per several Reddit users have shown. that when you create a server, anyone within your friends list can join that server whether you like it or not.
Oh my god.
And then the tents are kind of a gimmick thing where those should have been in your inventory or craftable from base game. And then the infinite storage, you should have been able to create more stash boxes and eventually got yourself to infinite storage. But you could create as many stash boxes as you want, and I could only have like maybe 50 to 150 storage slots. You know what I mean? I'm coming to you from someone who's legitimately played the game and tried to get into it. And it's just it's not all these things that are behind this paywall of the $13 a month or $100 for the year. All that shit that's right there should have been in the sandbox, should have been there from day one to make people just the experience of playing the game more viable, because all these things that they're getting paid for by all these people who are dumping money into the subscription are suggestions from the Reddit community to make the game better, to better people's experience and get more people to buy the game and continuously pay into the item store to pay for further DLCs or further add-ons. Yeah. It's just they're taking advantage of the suggestions that they're saying are half-assed or what they don't deem as higher quality suggestions, and they're monetizing them. Is all that this right here comes down to be, and it's fucking rough, because I can't count how many hours that I've farmed the golf course just to try to level up and get components or star graded armor or star graded weapons, let alone explosives, to better myself in the game. Yeah. And it's frustrating. I mean,
that's ridiculous, dude.
Some people might view my gripe as I'm a dirty farmer, but
No, dude. Anyone listening to us long enough, or anyone worth half their weight in salt, could see that you're a committed, legitimate gamer in our group. Like, you put time into this stuff.
I mean, everybody from the day one the golf course was found as a good farm spot was farming that location, because it was the only true spot where you could legitimately farm.
Yeah.
That's why server hopping became such an issue. Also, with that, subscription, they've also found that with private servers and other server allocations that a lot of their Amazon servers were recycling assets. So you would jump from one server to another server and then hop to a server where everything in the server is already looted because it's a recycled server.
That's annoying.
Which is, it is very annoying.
You'll have to help me, Lynn, come up with a proper title for this segment that is current and controversial and maybe a little witty.
Oh, man. Oh, on a side note, I would like to say that, you probably want it brought up, but someone did manage to catch the URL for the Fallout First website before Bethesda could get their hands on it.
This is gold, guys.
They put up a hell of a roast slash meme site that took Bethesda's initial launch website showing all of the stuff that was coming with Fallout First and put it in one location and then put a fan slash roast spin on it for just it
is creative. I will say this, Lynn, it is creative.
Dude, all the way to the end, I was laughing my ass off. I don't know if it was the way that it was very well written or if it was the way that my wife was presenting it. I will go on the segue from all of the hate towards Bethesda. I have to say Microsoft acquiring Obsidian as a first-party title / exclusive content creator.
Exclusive.
Albeit this title that I'm about to talk about is not exclusive. But thus far, Outer Worlds, it is a soul / deity successor to Fallout.
A side note to the multi-platform aspect before you get into it, that I'm kind of like excited to see what happens with this, is Microsoft acquired Obsidian as a development company, as in like they paid them X amount of money to get them to become a first-party developer for them, which for all intents and purposes means that anything they make has the potential for being exclusive to Xbox, because that was Microsoft's intention over the last 2 years of acquiring all these development companies, in order to expand their library of exclusive content, because Sony PlayStation has always been at the top of their game with that. They've always been ahead of the curve with having more first-party exclusives than anyone else, and that's why Microsoft is trying to finally kind of level the playing field a little bit. But as far as Obsidian goes, the interesting thing about this is a property that they've been in development with for quite a while prior to the acquisition of their company. Microsoft is also not shy from allowing IPs that they own to be on multiple platforms. Case in point, Microsoft bought out Minecraft, and they didn't suddenly decide, okay, you know what, we own them now, we're going to make them exclusive and pull them off of everything else. Instead, they realized the money opportunity there by allowing them to be on every platform, and they pushed their extensions out to Nintendo. Nintendo Switch has Minecraft. There's Minecraft on mobile devices, iOS and Android. Microsoft,
everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Microsoft is like, you know what? We're going to push it out everywhere and make it crossplay. Yay! And so when it comes to this new property, they're buying up Obsidian and making them a first-party company for them. They also realize, hey, Outer Worlds is a pretty heavy-set Fallout-style RPG, and it's coming out everywhere. It's coming out on PlayStation, eventually the Switch and Xbox. I don't think they're going to pull away from any sequels. What I'm saying is any additional sequels to this game, I feel like in the Minecraft frame of mind, they're probably going to continue allowing it to be a multi-platform release. As a side note, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. And that's fair. And this game needs to be on everywhere. Because so far, it is pretty legit. Pretty legit. I will say the aesthetic appeal of the game has the very current day No Man's Sky feel to it, where it is very beautiful as opposed to what No Man's Sky used to be. It is the vegetation, the creature life, and the NPCs are gorgeous. It has the dialogue slash, what would you say? Dialogue slash role playing of a like Elder Scrolls game meets a Knights of the Old Republic meets a Mass Effect game. So you know you have your multiple choices, but they are also benefited by your charisma per se. I won't get too deep into it there, but
there also seems to be like a deeply connected, connection. Like once you get to this point.
well, not even very far into the game, I've already got 4 modifiers which can affect my conversation choices, and it changes the outcome of how you talk to people, which is fantastic because one of the stats is a base stat, and then 3 of the other stats are skill stats.
Nice.
Which is
yeah, that's a nice level of heavy RPG.
It's great because I call back to like all of the D&D players. Anybody who enjoys like building a well in depth character sheet that has like well defined skills, traits, perks, or flaws, this game does play to you and your choices. It doesn't limit you as far as skills go. You can dump in per level 10 points to whatever you want. And a lot of the skill choices have multiple skills within each choice. So you're not super limited, but you are limited. And then as far as the perks go, you're given maybe 1 to 2 perks per level. And, each perk has from a 3 to 5 range on it. And it's great. And within maybe 20 minutes of gameplay, I've come across like 9 to 10 side quests alone, which is fucking crazy. I would definitely say Outer Worlds is definitely worth the playthrough. I mean, if you're a heavy RPG fan, whether it be tabletop, video game, and or board, this game definitely does true to the RPG element, because you can legitimately play this however you want. Because from the first NPC to the current NPCs that I'm at, you can kill every last person in this world. Or you can keep them alive. You can do all of their side missions. You can do everything to benefit them. You can honestly play this game thus far however you want.
I am so excited to try this game, but I was unable to, due purely entirely from internet data restrictions. But I gotta throw this out there for anyone else not restricted like me. Guys, being a first party company of Microsoft, even though they're open to all platforms and it's currently a widespread release, guys, if you have Game Pass on Xbox, this right here is just like Netflix, a quick click away from watching and or playing. All you gotta do is have 37 gigabytes of free space and download this right now, guys. It's available to play right now if you have Game Pass. And And they're selling it at full price for $60 still. Like if you didn't have Game Pass, they're charging $60 to buy this game outright. Like I've heard that it's a 30 to 40 hour game campaign RPG put out by Obsidian, and like, dude, that's more than like that justifies a full price for a regular game. But anyone with Game Pass right now is blessed with just the idea that you can download it. Just download it and play it, right?
I will throw this out there to any of the people who did enjoy either of the South Park games from Obsidian. This game far supersedes both of those. Like it feels like Fallout meets BioShock meets No Man's Sky meets basically any game with an in-depth crafting system to it / heavy RPG system. This is it's well worth it. I mean, it's worth the download. You know,
especially with Game Pass, right?
Right.
Definitely with Game Pass.
Fuck yeah. I'd honestly, if I didn't have Game Pass, I'd shell out the $60 for this. I would.
That's always like a promising perspective to deliver, sir. Lynn, how much time have you put into this game, roughly?
Thus far, I've probably put 2 hours and 30 minutes in.
Okay, that's not bad. I kind of wanted to get a little perspective before I promote to the audience what they can expect as far as like, well, you know, you're gonna end up going this far before you see anything, kind of expectations. But guys, go check out Outer Worlds on Game Pass, and if you like Obsidian Entertainment enough, maybe buy the game outside of Game Pass. I feel like it's probably a game worth it no matter what. Lynn has had experience and agrees with these sentiments. Guys, for now, we're kind of winding out on any additional news or reviews at this point. We've got some things for you guys to look forward to. We are at the end of the month of October, and so we're going to get heavily into our fall season, leading into a very festive month of December, perhaps. But guys, if you need an extra little taste of spooktacular things, go check out our website, where at the top of the page we have currently our spooktacular movie reviews, very heavily right now being curated by the Nick Thomas, as he is trying to watch. He started out with the goal of watching a movie a day, and the amount of movies he's watched, we're pretty much on par for that sort of statement. But guys, if you want to listen to the podcast or check out the YouTube videos, the movie reviews, the movie trailer reactions, the gameplay videos, the walkthroughs, or if you want to check out the latest recommendations for horror flick review movies, there's a very specific place you can go for all this. Go to nerdentialsmedia.com. That's right, nerds. There is one website where every single one of these things can be found. Videos, podcasts, and articles. It is your hub for the nerdy essentials. I'll throw that out there, guys. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking it out for this episode. Hope you were entertained. Leave a comment down below on any other additional questions or topics you want us to cover in the future. But for now, for me, Nick, and Lynn, this has been your Nerdy Essentials, and as always, nerds, we will see you on the other side. That was a crazy crazy hesitation, Lynn. Did it sound in sync to you?
Kinda. Not really.
I think you're lying. I think you're making stuff up.